Welcome back, everybody, to Neutrality Studies. Today, for an update on the situation in Spain and Morocco with our friend and colleague Fethi from Jazair Hope. Jazair Hope is a wonderful platform with a YouTube channel where Fethi is doing a lot of very good reporting, often in French, on the situation in North Africa. So, Fethi, thank you very much for coming online again.
Pascal, it's really a pleasure to be with you again, and thank you for having me.
Well, thank you very much for reaching out, because you were the one who said, like, look, maybe we should discuss what's happening in Spain, and you are very right. So this what is being reported in various media outlets as basically an invasion of migrants into Spain. Can you put that a little bit into context? What is actually happening, and who are the actors behind this?
Yeah, absolutely. And if you allow me, I would like to start by it's really very sad what's happening in Morocco. Because in 2026, this year, this is the second time Morocco image has been hit extremely hard um, in the media. The first time in January 2026 during the African World Cup. So the competition was scandalously biased towards Morocco, and eventually at the final game, Senegal has won on the pitch. Morocco went to reclaim victory to very corrupt African Confederation, Football Confederation, and it has impacted the image of Morocco in Africa extremely badly. And now we have this very sad event in Ceuta, as you described, and many people worldwide have described it as an invasion, which indeed is, because when you look at Ceuta population about 80,000 inhabitants, and you have 60,000 going in, there is no other the word that can describe it better than invasion. But if we zoom out about the specific event, we can discuss the specific event all along. We will see that beyond the event, there is a precedent. Something similar has happened previously. There is a geopolitical context, and there is an operational actor, which, in my opinion, is Morocco itself, with very strong allies. We will talk about them later on, and with the strategic asset at stake, and geopolitical consequences much wider and beyond the area of Ceuta or the Gibraltar Strait. And eventually, of course, there are beneficiaries to this situation. So,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry, precisely. I just wanted to very briefly, before you continue, interrupt, because I think it's very important that we are aware of the geography that we are talking about, right? So if we have here the let me quickly share my screen. Here, this one. When we talk about Ceuta, we're talking about this city here, which belongs this one here, which belongs to France. Which belongs to Spain, but it is actually located on the African continent, right? I mean, this is crucial. So we have Tangier here, Morocco's capital, and Ceuta on the right and right side tip of the Strait of Gibraltar, of the southern tip of Gibraltar, right? And so this is one of the exclaves of Spain, and of course we have the Brits, who hold another exclave in Spain, which is the Gibraltar itself, which is British territory and not the Spanish territory. So, and this is the one that we are talking about, and this is where so many 60,000 refugees in very precarious situations, basically just with a shirt on their bodies and in sandals at times, kind of came over and managed to go through. Now, can you maybe put this again into perspective for us? Like, what was
Absolutely. And Ceuta is the second enclave. The first one is Melilla. A very quick background, historical background. So Ceuta and Melilla have been colonized by Portugal and Spain in the 14th, 15th century. We can give people, they can check the dates. And they were never reclaimed or claimed through struggle. So just to give an example, if you look at the map, just on the other side of the borders, there is Oran city in Algeria, which has been also colonized at the same period by Portugal and Spain. Spain in precisely, and got independence all along with Algeria independence in 1962 through the struggle. The other important point is that Ceuta and Melilla are not part of the list, the United Nations list of non-self-governing territories subject to official decolonization process. So yes, Morocco is claiming them politically, but they are not inscribed in the UN list, nor they were fought for all along history. Melilla is the closest point to Europe through Gibraltar. I think it's 26 kilometers or so. So yeah, the event, as you said, there were 60,000 young Moroccan who have flown into the borders. It is very important to say that this has happened the following day of the throne, the King Mohammed VI throne speech, celebrating the 27th year he accessed to the throne. And it was a speech particularly very bragging about the performance of the Moroccan economy and how the perspectives for Moroccan population are bright. So this is a very big question mark that this also has happened that following day. Matter of fact, I'm writing an article which second part will answer this question. We can discuss it at the end later on. So there are some circumstances and context to this. So this has happened also because Spain has regularized, I think, 500,000 immigrant June, the first part of the year, okay? And there was another decision taken by the higher judicial court in Spain, saying that the people who will be coming to Europe in Spain through the sea will not be returned, hot return. And the logic is that if they are coming by the sea, they were already in Ceuta. So they have not entered the borders illegally. If someone is coming by the sea through Ceuta, he was in Ceuta. So it's not like those who have broken the borders. So those two events, so the 500,000 regularized immigrants plus this decision has been used as a base. The narrative says by the social media rumors that Spain is allowing whoever is in Ceuta to be regularized and go later on into Europe.
Hey, just a very quick note. The best way to support this channel is by signing up for my free Substack. You can also help with a paid subscription there, or you can get some of our new merch on neutralitystudies.com. Links below. See you there.
So this is how all has started. But in the same time, there are videos and images showing trucks transporting hundreds of young Moroccans and being directed clearly by the police, the Moroccan police, towards the direction of the borders. So, and then even beyond those photos or videos, when 60 people move towards one direction, it is impossible yeah,
6,000 people. Yeah.
1,000 people move into the one direction. It is just impossible for the police or the security service of that country to not notice it. And I said before that there is a precedent. In 2021, there was a very similar situation at smaller scale. At that time, we're talking about maybe 1,000 to 2,100. It followed um, uh, the case of the president of the Sahrawi Republic, Arab Islamic Sahrawi Republic, who was hosted in Spain for medical reasons, and similar event exactly at the same timing. And at that time, it was clearly agreed that it was a retaliation by Morocco for receiving the president of the Sahrawi Republic. And at that time also, the foreign minister of Morocco has clearly said that we are not the concierge of the frontier of Europe. So can you imagine you have a neighbor and you have the same door to the compound, and he will leave it open while the rule is to keep it closed, and he will tell you, I'm not responsible of people entering the compound. So this is the context, this is the precedent. So that's why when we zoom out, it's clearly that this is not spontaneous.
There are people actually who are claiming that this event has something to do with Israel, and that Morocco is basically supporting Israel to put pressure on Spain to stop its advocacy against the genocide in Gaza, because Spain is basically the only vocal European EU member state that has clearly put its weight behind against Israel. Apart from Ireland, I must say, Ireland too. But it's Ireland and Spain, and that this is like the Israeli government basically working with Morocco in order to send a very, very strong signal to Spain that if push comes to shove, they have tools. Is there anything to this, or is this just like some weird conspiracy theory?
Absolutely. When I said about when we zoom out, we see clear pattern of a plan, and I spoke about allies to Morocco on this event. It's not only Israel; it's also the United States. So I will give you a few referring points. Okay. So Michael Rubin, who is a researcher at the American Enterprise Institute, published clearly, Morocco should send a new green march into Ceuta and Melilla, describing it as a strategy based on a civilian mobilization around Ceuta and Melilla. For those who do not know what is the Green March, the Green March refers to when Morocco tried and is still trying to take over the Sahara, the Western Sahara. They have organized a march towards Sahara, and it was called the Green March. So Michael Rubin is saying that Morocco should do the same for Ceuta. Clearly, people, they can Google and if you will find this report. Another more official report, Mario Diaz-Balart, Republican congressman, in the House report, page 88, the third paragraph, speaks about encouraging the talks between Spain and Morocco regarding Ceuta and Melilla, while officially Ceuta is a Spanish territory. This is the first time an American report from the House referring to this. Previously, there is the son of Netanyahu, Yair Netanyahu, saying that we should transfer Ceuta and Melilla to Morocco. So this is not out of the blue. And for example, the statement of Michael Rubin and the report date of 2026. The statement of Yair Netanyahu dates back to 2025. So this is like a preparation or a narrative that has been building up recently. And of course, as you said, there is Spain is a target because of the official position of Sanchez towards the Palestine situation, and it's not only support; it's an active support. He has refused the American planes to go through the Spanish skies. He has refused the use of the naval port of Spain. So it's an active support to the Palestine and Gaza situation. And Trump has very recently, last year and this year, also repeated many times that Spain is not a good NATO member,
Yeah.
and that he will pay the price. And he, more than that, he referred to the historical territories of Spain. He mentioned Cuba, he mentioned Philippines, he mentioned Costa Rica, uh, Guam, in reference that they might lose Ceuta like they lost those territories. So there is clear support to this narrative. There is, as I said, allies, operational allies. There is uh, uh, official documentation, official studies by official institutes in the US, all converging towards this situation.
So at this point, while we do not have any kind of, I believe we don't have any kind of official report or investigation yet that could tell us how these 60,000 people were obviously directed, and with buses and whatnot, they were all at the same time directed via Ceuta. So this was an organized operation, that's for sure. But we do not have any kind of clear picture yet of what organization did that. But the pattern that we're seeing is that this is most likely a coordinated political influence campaign in order to undermine the Pedro Sanchez government, right? In order to create a situation that will then, optimally lead to regime change in Spain, although this is probably a little bit far-fetched that it will go that far, but it's that kind of direction of activity, of covert operations by a couple of actors. And we know, the only thing we know for sure is that Morocco must be in bed with those actors, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do it. You wouldn't be able to get 60,000 Moroccans and ship them over this border and send them there. And obviously these are people who are in economic distress. Obviously, this is young men who rather take the chance of trying this when offered the possibility, rather than saying no. But on the other hand, it is clearly organized by someone. Do we already have at this point any kind of statements, let's say from the Israeli government, I mean, confirming or denying it? Do we have any statements by Morocco, actually, official statements so far?
Look, I completely agree that we don't have a clear, we cannot have proofs. Okay, it's very difficult to have proofs. But as you said, there is a context. What is sure is that the last few days in the Spanish newspapers, few elements are starting to come out. For example, they have shown that the Moroccan satellite, a few days before this event, was for all the week, was focusing on observing that area. Okay, there are other elements by the security services in Spain, mentioned also by the Spanish newspaper, saying that members of the Moroccan security services have been participating into this invasion. Okay, you mentioned about the youth situation. It is an important element, just so that we don't forget it. In addition to the old background we have mentioned, the unemployment in Morocco, the official number is above 13%. The youth unemployment is above 30%. the graduate young Moroccans, unemployment is above 18%. So the situation is clearly socially disastrous, and this is another element that explains the situation. Coming back to your question, if there were declaration by the Israeli government about this, yes. So let me find out a clear post by uh, an Israeli official, Danny Danon. Here it is. Yeah, Danny Danon is saying that.
Israel's ambassador to the UN, right?
Yeah,
Danny
yeah.
Danon.
So he said clearly that Spain never loses an opportunity to give a lesson on Israel about trying to fire the Gazawi from Gaza, and now they have an opportunity to receive the Gazawi into Spain, or at least to manage properly their borders. Okay, there are other newspaper in Israel talking about how important is the relationship with Morocco, how important is that the Gibraltar Strait is important to be managed by people who are close to our geopolitical policy. So all those elements exist. So indeed, it's a strong convergence of interest between Morocco as the operational actor and the US and Israel as the logistical allies, at least.
So just to get this straight, like when we talk about this situation, um, you know, like looking at the entire geopolitical picture here, and also keeping in mind that Morocco has this big fight about Western Sahara, and actually Spain is also rather supportive of Western Saharan independence, right? So this is kind of a payback on the one hand, and on the other hand, it is kind of the beginning of a struggle for control, or to make sure that the access to for Israel remains open to the Strait of Gibraltar, because anything that goes via ship to Israel, right? Like, sorry, let me zoom out again. Anything that goes via ship to Israel, to the Mediterranean, actually must somehow pass through the Strait of Gibraltar. Like anything that goes into the Mediterranean, right? So are we actually talking here about a geopolitical game, not a game, but a contest to send this very strong signal to Spain that, well, this access point is ours, and if we have means, we have tools. It's not just to punish you, but it is to make sure that this access point remains open at any point in time for Israel, and that Spain and maybe even the EU never get any kind of funny ideas. Because if you actually started blocking this access for Israel as a way to put pressure on the Israeli government, that would be a life-threatening situation to them. Of course, we are like million miles away from this from this happening, but this is this kind of Israel looking far ahead of things. So is that kind of the interpretation that you're having?
Look, absolutely, this is one part of the interpretation, but I don't think it's the only part of the interpretation. And also, I tend to disagree that this cannot be very far away. You're right. Anything that should go to Israel has to go by Gibraltar Strait. uh, Spain and Sanchez particularly is being threatened by this situation, that if you don't play the ball, we will push to have a different government. And matter of fact, there is the Vox party in the extreme far right party in Spain, who is all over the place currently. There are also all the European right, right, extreme right parties managing European countries, extremely vocal. Uh, those who are not in power also. So there is situation that is popping up in Europe. Why I think that this situation is not very far-fetched and is not a long-term situation, because what's happening in Middle East with the Hormuz Strait, if Bab el-Mandeb Strait is also endangered seriously, so the only door to the Mediterranean Sea will be Gibraltar Strait. So I don't think this is a far-fetched or far long-term situation. And when I said it's beyond also Israel, I think, and this one can be a mid to long-term context or objective. I think the US in this global fight against China is clear about their strategy is either you are an ally with me or you are an enemy. And we have seen splitting Europe over the situation in Gaza and the war in Iran. We have seen government refusing to participate into the war in Iran, increasingly refusing to be part of the Ukraine war against Russia. Clear other countries declaring that what's happening in Gaza is genocide. So there is a splitting Europe, okay, and maybe converging into another bloc that will completely disagree with the US policy. So in return, Trump is telling them, either you are allies or we will fragment you, we will split you, and the weapon is the immigration. And what is happening in Spain is only an example, because a matter of fact, already Meloni in Italy is asking Spain to be removed from the Schengen space. There is Denmark and Finland stating something similar. So we are already entering an era of splitting Europe. And you know that Europe is all about the free flow of people and goods. If the borders are controlled or closed, there is not any more Europe. And this is eventually will be in the benefit of the US in confronting China or in the new World War fight. So I think Ceuta is a pilot event showing to Europe that this is not a far or a science fiction event, and that can spread very widely into Europe.
So is it in your interpretation at this point just a threat? Like, look at what we can do with just like a couple of buses full of people. So Spain, you better get back in line or else. Or is it actually the beginning of a policy to try to systematically undermine, destabilize Spain and actually the Europe in general? Yeah, again, as you said, either with us or we basically kill you, or we kill your project. We know the Americans several times actually threatened that if the EU ever becomes unfriendly or not non-cooperative, then we know how to deal with unions. We dealt with the Soviet Union. Maybe there's another union that needs a little bit of splitting. We've had these comments even of the first Trump administration before, not by Donald Trump, but by his some of his officials. Is it that? And again, like, do you think that this will continue, this movement of like trying to ship people to Ceuta and using basically like, the economically completely impoverished North Africans, Moroccans as a weapon against Europe, or is it stopping now? Is this it?
Look, it is definitely a threat to Europe, but it's not only a threat to Spain. Spain, I think it's the beginning of a very strong attempt to topple down Sanchez from power in Spain. So if they will achieve changing the regime in Spain, the threat to Europe will be established. But it is a threat to Europe and a clear action, as far as I read it, to change the regime in Spain. And Trump said it very clearly.
When are the next elections in Spain? They are, I think they're scheduled for 2027, right? So
Absolutely.
year
Absolutely.
in August. So it's a year down the road. So is this maybe like the first act of trying to
Absolutely.
systematically undermine Sanchez and then get him kicked out and replaced by these right-wing forces that you absolutely correctly say they live off the migration. And, in a sense, it's very, very hypocritical, of course, because what we've seen in 2015, 16 was like millions of migrants coming to Europe, and there was no that didn't lead to the breakup of the Schengen area, and now we have 60,000 who in a overnight stunt managed to somehow get on European territory, and Meloni and other right-wing forces are already threatening that this is it. I mean, we need to kick you out of this agreement. So basically, a political stunt to undermine Spain, huh?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think I'm not sure they will succeed because for Spain in particular, because the economic situation in Spain is improving strongly. So that's why, matter of fact, they have been able to accept 500,000 or regularize 500,000 young foreigners in last year. So economically and socially, Spain is doing increasingly better, and definitely much better than a lot of other European countries. So maybe because of this, they will not succeed, and maybe the Spain will be establishment, the Spain government will be able to gradually explain to the population in Spain that we are being attacked because we are improving, and that if they will succeed into this narrative, it will overturn this attempt but uh, uh, Israel and the US, along with Morocco, and I will come back to Morocco why, uh, will continue to try very hard to change the regime in Spain. And Morocco, why also is interested into this change? It's because recently there have been uh, um, uh, uh, an increasingly improving relationship with Algeria, between Spain and Algeria. So Sanchez has visited Algeria a few weeks back, the following day of their victory in the World Cup. So he flew from the US directly to Algeria to meet the Algerian president, Mr. Abdelmajid Tebboune, and the topics were mostly about the gas export to Spain. As you know, Algeria has two pipelines that can reach to Spain. So one going through Morocco and another directly from Algeria to Spain. The one going through Morocco has been closed since Morocco has tried to twist the arm of Algeria in the terms of the transit of gas through their territories. Okay, this is another story. But Algeria in 2011 has built another pipeline. They were foreseeing that things may get very bad with Morocco, so they have built a second pipeline going directly to Spain. And why Sanchez has visited Algeria recently, and this is another reason why Morocco might have been really concerned, is that the pipeline, the planned pipeline that is coming from Nigeria through Niger, through Algeria, is being almost completely finished. Nigeria, who was Morocco was trying to convince Nigeria to in favor of another pipeline going through the coast through 13 countries triple the cost, triple the time necessary to build, going through a conflict zone, which is the Western Sahara. So it is just, um, we have a saying in Algeria, when you want to show your ear, this is, instead of saying this is my ear, you say this is my ear. So the other pipeline is kind of this is my ear. Why there is a very direct pipeline. So Nigeria has came out recently to mention clearly that they are completely engaged into this pipeline. So with what's happening worldwide about the gas, Spain is very much interested to have a good relationship with Algeria, especially that there is another pipeline going directly to Italy, and the agreements between Algeria and Italy are very strong. They have reached very high level. So Algeria capacity to supply Europe is very limited, and it can be increased only if the pipeline, if the gas of Nigeria flows through another route, which exists through the pipeline between Algeria and Spain. So Morocco is very concerned that because of this improving relationship with Algeria, Spain will change its stance towards the Western Sahara case. So all those are converging into the same interest between Morocco, Israel, and the US. The US.
So, and of course, Algeria and Morocco have not a very good relationship with each other. Morocco and Spain now have definitely beef. But why is it that Morocco, despite also being part of the Muslim world, has a close relationship with Israel? I mean, how does that one fly, especially in the Moroccan in Moroccan society? Do you have any insights into that one? I cannot imagine that Morocco's population can be a great fan of Israel, or are they?
Definitely not the population of Morocco. The problem with the population of Morocco, and this is very sad to mention, is that the population has been purposely and very sneakily uh, uneducated during a long period of time. So if you see the level of illiteracy in Morocco, it's very, very high. So basically, what I want to say about this, without entering a lot into detail, is that there is, in the population of Morocco, there is no capacity to fight back an establishment. So, and then it's the same situation, for example, in the US or in certain countries of Europe. While you have an establishment clearly in favor of Israel, the population is not. And it has been a process over a long period where these people take decision-making positions and kind of freeze the society. And to take back or to win back this fight will take a long time. So the population of Morocco is definitely against Israel and in favor of the Palestinian cause, but it is completely paralyzed. I don't see how they can overturn the situation.
Can you? And I'm very sorry because I'm very ignorant about Moroccan the political development of Morocco. Algeria is of course very famous because it had to fight a very bloody war of independence against its colonial oppressor France, with millions of dead Algerians, right? I mean, Algeria bled very, very badly, but in the outcome of it is that since the I want to say late 60s, 70s, Algeria is actually an independent country with an independent government that actually is kind of a revolutionary anti-colonial government, and they keep that until today, at least more or less. And the relationship with France, with Algeria, is not very good. How did that develop in Morocco? How did Morocco gain its independence? And is today's leadership still beholden to the former colonial, the former colonial structures?
Absolutely. Look, France has colonized North Africa, Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco, and Morocco was a protectorate. So there was never a fight by Morocco against the presence of France. Algeria, as you said, is uh, look. Algeria is governed by the people, so we can see the government, for example, diverting here and there from the the strong beliefs of Algerians and their aims and the way they see the country should be run. They can divert, but if they diverge very hard, the population will react. I don't see that happening in Morocco in the foreseeable future. So, and the reason is that in Morocco, France has established the regime. They have established the kingdom. They have treaties that will intervene in case the regime is threatened. And beyond, uh, 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 without waiting that the regime is threatened, it is controlled and protected all over the time. Morocco economy is technically bankrupt. So if you see the level of their debt to their PNB, it's huge, but it is still supported by loans, IMF, World Bank, and so on. Technically, all the exports of Morocco are going into two directions: France or the US. So it's completely two different situations. But I insist that the population of Morocco, and I know a lot of them, is in support of the Palestinian cause. Another example that will explain maybe the Morocco situation is UAE in Middle East. Okay, so you have countries, despite maybe they have relationship with Israel, they have normalized with Israel, like I don't know, for example, Jordan or Egypt. But when you look at UAE, it's I would say Israel, another Israel in the Middle East. So Morocco is playing the same role in North Africa.
Sorry, can you explain UEE?
United Arab Emirates.
UAE. Sorry. Okay, okay. The
Yeah.
United Arab Emirates. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Of course, of course.
So the role of United Arab Emirates is not uh, a role of Saudi Arabia, nor Kuwait, nor Jordan, despite they might converge from time to time with certain decision. Or so UAE is clearly, for example, in favor of a full attack against Iran. It's
Yeah.
the only country in Middle East that wants the war to not stop. Exactly same as Morocco in North Africa. So it's in two words, Morocco is completely taken by decision makers that are completely aligned to Israel. Another fact:
That-
the counselor to the king, Mr. Andri Azoulay, is counselor to the king of Morocco, the previous one since 1960. It's the same counselor to Morocco kingdom, and he has been prized by Netanyahu with the highest prize Israel gives to its foreign supporters. Yeah,
So I mean, okay, this is very helpful to understand. So we must picture Morocco very similar to the UAE, which is basically a regime that then presides over a population and that might have a completely different political and moral outlook. But since they are installed there and reign by the grace of the former occupiers, the former colonizers, who prop up their regimes, well, there you go. You can basically have a foreign policy that is 180 degrees different from what a lot of people on the ground would want. But the regime itself depends not on those people. It depends on the support of France, the EU, the United States, and in that sense also on Israel. So you have an alignment on
it's
that front, which is very different then from Algeria and the actually properly decolonized
absolutely.
part of Africa.
It's a survival alignment. Matter of fact, for example, you would agree with me that, for example, the narrative on Israel, the narrative on UAE, the narrative on the US has changed over the last few years because of what happened in Gaza. The same thing in Morocco. As I said in the beginning, uh, uh, Morocco has taken an absolutely and extremely hard hit on their narrative, on which, exactly as Israel, they have built all their story. So their story is built on a narrative, on a media. So when you look at the gap between what people might think and the reality of quality of life in Morocco, it's a huge gap.
Yeah. But so basically, I mean, if this is a coordinated affair actually between a couple of, foreign policy actors, let's say in Washington, Tel Aviv, uh, and Morocco, then it is a pretty high gamble, because now people are actually looking and are paying attention to what is happening there, which is not always a good thing, right? Tangier might regret this kind of action, because it puts Morocco on a map, and actually it kind of now exposes these alignments between different actors. It's kind of a high stake gamble for Morocco as well to do this. I'm surprised that I mean, if they are part and parcel of this, because let me just put it this way: there's still a chance that this is a coordinated effort, but by just illegal gangs. I mean, that's also an option, right? Just a couple of illegal gangs that gather 60,000 people, ram them through, make a lot of money, get out. That could still be the case, right?
No. Look. It's not legal gangs. I'm sorry to say, because I'll tell you why. Legal gangs, this is not the way they operate. So, because if you push 60,000 people to a border, how you are being get paid? In general, the illegal gangs, they organize proper trips.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it is a big gamble, but it's same as what's happening in the US and in Israel. It's a big gamble. I would call it, as we say in French, c'est une fuite en avant. They kind don't have alternative. So they are clashing with the world. They are clashing. Yeah. So when you have Trump,
fleeing forward, right? Instead of fleeing back, you flee forward, and it's like, yeah, you're basically throwing yourself into the knives here.
yeah, exactly. So at least instead of stopping, you are fleeing forward. Yeah. So I don't think they have a choice. It's a survival alignment.
Okay, but that actually that puts Morocco also in danger. I mean, what is your assessment? Is there if so Morocco and the forces who might have orchestrated this are looking at sowing, public discord in Spain, and get rid of the Spanish government 2027. So out, and something right wing pro Israel. That's, I mean, so let's suppose that's the optimal outcome for those forces that we are kind of now assuming are in the background. But on the other hand, it might actually stir up something in Morocco, like public discontent with the government. Is there, to your knowledge, any kind of threat of public uprising in Morocco?
Look, the local discontent in Morocco is ongoing. Okay, it happened in October last year, September, October last year. Some very serious event by Gen Z, the Moroccan Gen Z, uh, uh, and there are sporadic events. But as I said, the population in Morocco cannot. I don't see them appraising to the extent of putting the regime at risk. So they have been completely disarmed intellectually, educationally, politically, materially, from getting to the point to be organized in a force that can put the regime as threat. It is a gamble, but not for the Moroccan population. It is a gamble for the regime, because if this forward fleeing will not succeed, there will be, I don't think in the short term, but there could be change in the regime in those countries, in Israel, in the US, and in Morocco, in favor of the populations.
Risky strategies everywhere. It's just, in my view, a very risky one, because the one thing that these 60,000 people prove is that Morocco has a lot of people who would love to leave Morocco, right? It's it doesn't really rhyme with the king's depiction of Morocco as going up and the economy is doing fine and so on. But well, is there anything that we didn't cover yet, that we didn't talk about?
There is one important question, Pascal, which I will write an article about it. Is there is one point that can question all this scenario that we have been discussing. The point is that all this could have happened another day than the following day of the king's speech celebrating the throne day. Because, as we said, this is very damaging to the image of Morocco. They could have done this another day. They would achieve all what they are trying to achieve now without hurting the image of the king, saying that Morocco is the Switzerland of Africa. And next day, as you said, 60,000 people flee. So why the following day? And this can be a discussion to another topic, but I will just give hints, is that internally in Morocco, in the royaume, in the palace of the kingdom, there are splitting forces between one of the counselor of the king. His name is Al-Himma, who is very close to Israel. He has been the Achilles heel of the Abraham Accord, the discussion on the Western Sahara. Abdul Latif Al-Himma, I'm sure his last name, and the head of the government, Akhnouch. Those two people are
Competing,
fighting over the power in Morocco. So when the king speaks about a prosperous economy, this is a credit to Akhnouch, the head of the government, which Al-Himma does not like. And we have legislative elections in Morocco in September.
So there's this internal Moroccan power struggle element to it as well, of one faction trying to undermine the other one in order for like in 2 months down the road, next month actually, the elections in Morocco.
Yeah. So this needs a deeper thought, but in other words, the king celebrating a prosperous economy is a strong support to the current head of government, which Al-Himma does not like. But as I said, it needs a much deeper digging.
Okay, well, thank you very much for just like also mentioning that there's an internal political Moroccan power struggle involved here as well, because as usually these topics are highly complex and have different actors on different levels playing with and against each other. This is the kind of analysis you also do on your channel, and maybe this is the right point to point that out. Fethi, people who want to find you, where should they go?
Well, they should go to jazairhope.org. It's my website, my blog. If you can show it, that will be great. You just type jazairhope.org. So this is one way of finding me. The other way is I have YouTube channel. They just write the same thing, Jazair Hope. And stay there, please, Pascal. Please stay there in the
Jazair Hope YouTube.
Yeah, if you can go back to my website, please.
Yep.
So on the right-hand side, you can see a bookshelf.
Yep.
And there, the first book is the history of Algeria in 54 object. So here they can scroll the book to have an insight. You see in the bottom right, yeah. So they can have an insight of the book. And for those who would like to help Jazair Hope, they can either buy it on Amazon. It is just on the right hand side, or they can buy digital form of it on the upper right hand side. We also offer it for free for those who cannot buy it. So they just can send me an email. They will find it on this website. And this book, just a couple of words, Pascal, is inspired from a bestseller from the British Library, The History of the World in 100 Objects. So we wrote the same, the history of Algeria in 54 objects. 54 refers to the year of the start of the Algerian Revolution, 1954. And when they go through it, the structure is one object and the history behind it. And when you read all the book, you will have a very strong insight of the history of Algeria from very old times and until today. So thank you very much, Pascal, for giving me this opportunity.
Well, thank you very much, Fethi. And everybody, if you want to learn more about Algeria, this is a beautiful project. As a historian, I appreciate this very, very much, that you're taking this approach, also like connecting objects with history. And Algeria is, of course, a very old culture and civilization. So everybody, I recommend, go to Jazair Hope, support Fethi, buy a book, support the project. Fethi, thank you so much for your time today.
And for those who cannot buy it, we offer it for free.
This is wonderful because it's educational. Support or read for free, but go there. Fethi, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Pascal. It has been really a pleasure.